Well, welcome to another episode of the Disruptive Dental Science Podcast. Now, AI is improving a lot within our personal lives, and it's starting to do the same thing within dentistry for us as well. I got to sit down with Dr. Celin Arce, who's a prosthodontist, to discuss the 5 aspects that he believes is improving within the dental field because of AI, everything from treatment planning to diagnostics, even discussing the ROI associated with this if you're thinking to jump into some of these softwares that are out there. Just to help you feel a little bit better about it, we also went through a survey of how dentists and patients actually believe this is improving or actually a detriment to the dental field. So if you're a little curious about this, come join the discussion. We'll see you in a second. Well, welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Disruptive Dental Science. My name is Dr. Ashton Prince, and I'm one of the clinical ambassadors with Dental Advisor, and I'm once again joined by my good friend, Dr. Celin Arce. Celin, good to see you again this morning, my friend.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, absolutely. So for those that missed out on our last edition, if you wouldn't mind, do me a favor and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you've been up to.
Well, my name is Celin Arce. I'm a prosthodontist. I'm originally from Costa Rica, and now I practice in Lexington, Kentucky.
Well,
that's a very short version.
That's the quickest version I think I've ever heard, but it works. So during the last episode that we had, then you and I started doing a slight discussion into the improvements or actually even the introduction of artificial intelligence or AI and its variants from what artificial intelligence is, what augmented intelligence is, how it applies to dentistry in general. And I told you before, I kind of nerd out about this kind of stuff because I love it. It's not just because I watch weird sci-fi movies and I've seen kind of how those things work because, let's be honest, that's Hollywood styles of things. But for you personally, when we're talking about dentistry, we're talking about things in a medical field. When we talk about AI, what does that mean to you and how do you use it?
Okay, so before we get into the dentistry, I think it's very important that we just touch a little bit on like the normal life things that we utilize AI.
Sure.
So on Google, when we do a search, you're not even finished typing the first word and you get pretty much the whole sentence. Yeah, so Google AI, that for the search engine. Facebook and Instagram, now they have their own AI. So actually, yeah, the other day I was searching for tickets to Costa Rica back home. And I don't know, I think I did a typo and already gave me a resume of like how long does it take to the airport, to the hotel. So like a quick summary of 3 or 4 paragraphs from just typing where I wanted to be. Last week, the Apple had the release of their new products, and most of the new products are going to come with the Apple Intelligence.
Not even the Siri anymore, right?
Right.
Gotten away from Siri. Now it's AI.
Well, I think they're still going to have the Siri, but it's going to be an improved version. One of the features that Apple Intelligence is going to come in their phones, in their laptops, in all their computers. One of them is very similar to ChatGPT, so it's going to have a writing tool feature. If you just want to write like a quick email, you can just right-click it, and it's going to tell you, do you want to be more professional? Do you want to be more concise? Do you want to be more friendly? Okay. And so basically, it will modify whatever you wrote and make the email look more professional, more concise, more friendly. It gives you a proofread if you have any typos, anything like that. That has been very similar from like this stuff from ChatGPT that has been now a few years. So yeah, in a day-to-day life, I think we're impacted now for AI with so many things that we don't even recognize. Obviously, like Alexa from Amazon and all those type of Bluetooth devices. So obviously, yeah, we're impacted with too many things. So definitely that was going to be now implemented into the medical field. So I'm sure that in the medical field that obviously we don't know really a lot what's happening like in the physician office or anything like that. But in dentistry, yeah, it's going to be impacted in so many things as well. Yeah. So today, if we want to, I just want to touch maybe on 5 aspects of, I think the AI it's really helping us in dentistry.
Okay.
And I think, obviously we can go even more, but I think we want to finish this episode sometime.
Sometime in the next hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
I've watched what my kids do. It's affected their schooling. My son, my 16-year-old, he was writing up a paper, and it was a report of something. And I said, buddy, you got to get this thing done. I mean, you got to report it. It's due tomorrow. He said, give me 15 minutes. It'll be finished. I said, there's no way. There's no possible way you could be finished in 15 minutes. He said, Dad, ChatGPT does it all for me. He goes, in fact, it's even to a point where there is an app or there is some kind of software that it will actually go in and check to see in a school basis whether or not that was actually written by ChatGPT. It's being used that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always found it a little interesting and a little curious of whether or not there are some negative effects of using this. So as we're going through these 5, potentially 45 different pieces that we could easily go over, I'd say let's hit both the positive and the negatives. So let's go with your number one. Where do you want to begin?
Yeah. So I think the one maybe it's been having a little more developed than that I've seen in the couple of softwares that are in the market. Mm-hmm. So in the software that's in the market right now is Pearl AI and also Overjet.
Yes.
So that I work here at the University of Kentucky. Right now we're doing the beta testing to see how we can implement that into more a big scale basis. So when we have a dental school with, 400 dental students, both of those softwares, they come with very similar features. So either from just a radiographic analysis, so taking the by-win, that's the tricky part, that there has to be a really good by-win. Right, because then if we have those overlaps in approximately and all that, then obviously the software is not going to be able to read it. But now the softwares, they can tell you basically how much bone loss the patient has. So it already automatically measures from the CEJ to the bone levels, and it already gives you a percentage of the bone loss that the patient has. Obviously, like you and me, that we have been now in dentistry for many years, now we can look at the X-ray and we
say
can,
it like that.
Maybe you a little bit longer, but
oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
But yeah, obviously we can take an X-ray, and we're very easy. We can diagnose a problem fairly quick, but in the more, let's say, beginning of their careers, that they're still confused about all the diagnostic portions, the software will tell you how much bone loss. Also will diagnose caries, that one I'm very interested about, because obviously diagnosing caries in a radiograph has been an issue for many years. I don't think there's ever a consensus if you're going to drill a D1 or D2 lesion or a E1 or E2. But now, coming from a good by-win, the software will tell you how much of that incipient lesion there's in the enamel. It will tell a percentage of how much is in the enamel. It will tell a percentage if it's in the dentin as well. So that's with caries. Periapical lesions will tell you, it will diagnose it if there's any changes in the periapical portion. And the other part that I think is very interesting now, I know that they're pushing now to have the software be compatible or be associated also with the insurance companies.
Yes.
So that will help a lot of the insurance claims that obviously everybody has dealt with an insurance company, and obviously sometimes they're very difficult to deal with, because you send the X-ray, you send your progress note. That's how I diagnose. I treat the patient, and then after that they deny the diagnosis because whatever person in their office said that I was not maybe appropriate for the patient, something like that. But now if the software will streamline that for you, that's how the patient presenting the first time, have the X-rays and everything diagnosed by the AI software, and automatically submits all that to the insurance company. So that, I think that will be a huge benefit, especially for the normal GP practice that they're doing like day insurance claims and a normal restorations.
So I'm curious about this kind of stuff. So when we say that we're going to start to introduce AI to begin doing some of the tasks that we either don't want to do or feel like we need to be more efficient with it, or there are just certain helps that we need, or even a second set of eyes, like you said, the caries detection and different things like that for image analysis, what would be the number one reason for you to introduce AI into the office? Is it just to have some help, to have a little bit of some assistance as we're actually trying to do our day-to-day tasks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, for like you and me, I think that we're a little bit further in careers, that do I need AI to diagnose caries, diagnose a periapical lesion, diagnose bone loss? No. Obviously, we can do that with all the training that we had over the years. I think too, with the second set of eyes, that's definitely, it's a great help. And second, actually the other day we were testing with the students and with some patients is, I'm sure you try to explain a patient over an x-ray, this is where you see the little darker thing, well, that's caries or that's like a lesion. Obviously, they don't understand that. But the AI software will make you like an outline of the lesion with a different color, like purple, yellow. And then you see the lines from like the crescent bone level to the CJ, and you see those lines. Right. So if I were to explain that to a patient, I think it now becomes a lot more visual. The patient's in a screen, they can see, now I can see where my bone level should be. And then the line is going like all the way here. So yes, obviously I have bone loss. So I think for a patient explanation, visual aspect, I think also that it's a great feature.
And it's funny that you say patient explanation to it. I almost look at it as a second proof, or us actually having to prove ourselves of saying, guys, it's not just me saying this, because what I see a lot and I will use the term second opinions that I get from a lot of patients that come through. They say that I went over to this other office and they diagnosed me with 14 different cavities and I need 2 root canals and all this different stuff. Now I got to do scaling, root planing. I just wanted you to take a look at it and see what you think. And I'll actually ask them, so what did you see? What was their reasoning behind it? And it almost seems as though we have to explain things to people and then further show them proof as to what it is that we're saying is actually accurate and true. And things like this can help out quite a bit, purely because it's no longer taking the human element into it, even though this is what I would call augmented intelligence, where we're using this as an assistance to us. Whereas artificial intelligence, it just does it all for us. You said you were typing something in, and even if you misspelled it, it still did it for you anyway, and you had your tickets to Costa Rica, you're on your way. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, for those that aren't familiar with things like the Overjet and the Pearl and different softwares like that, it's at least worth looking into to see if these are softwares or assistances, we're going to stick with that you could actually utilize to see if you can further the diagnostic abilities that you have, the patient management dynamics that you have, like you said, getting into insurance claims and different things like that, but it can also help out with treatment planning and other dynamics that way, because we use it in a number of different areas as well. So what else do you use AI for in your office?
Okay, so that's the first one that I think is going to be...
only number one.
That was only number one.
Wow, we got some time. Here we go. Okay, number 2.
So number 2, that also I think that goes more into the, not so much of the full AI, and now has been for a few years, that is the navigated implant placement.
Yes.
Which the same, we have to take same x-rays, we have to take a cone beam. But the cool thing about the device I'm very familiar with the navigation, the X guy, that's how it's called. I'm sure that there are probably more in the market, but that's the one that I've used. But basically, while you're having the CVCT of the patient, it will give you while you're doing the drilling, while you're doing the implant placement, it will give you pretty much a augmented reality, real time of the angle and the depth that you're doing the drilling. And it will tell you from whatever planning you had, if you had to tilt the drill a little bit more buccal or a little more mesial, distal. And then once you reach the depth, it will tell you, like, please stop, don't go any further. So pretty much it's like a real augmented reality that is showing you in the screen. This is how you're doing the drilling protocol and the implant placement.
So it takes away the human error dynamic to it, or at least assists in that dynamic to it. So it's kind of your idiot's guide to placing an implant is when you use the augmented or the artificial intelligence.
That pretty much.
Yeah. That helps me because I am the idiot when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the interesting part is, obviously, as a prosthodontist, like we always learn about prosthetically driven implant placement. So you still have to do some sort of like digital wax up. That way you know where your final restoration is going to be looking like, the width, the height. But from that digital wax up, then you do that navigated implant placement. So basically, you never have to do a circle guide at all, because awesome. the software will tell you how much of the angulation you go in, the depth and all that. Yeah, that's really amazing.
And surgical guides weren't even really introduced that long ago of being a major assistance to us. And now we're already saying that's obsolete. Now we've got AI that's going to help us do it instead. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
All right. So that's number 3. All right. So I would say there's now different softwares in the market that they help with the smile design features. So, well, first of all, as a prosthodontist, I used to spend, 6-7 hours in the lab when I had to do a wax up for a full mouth rehab. And yes, I love to wax up because I was just trained like that. But yeah, I think you can definitely improve your hand skills and the anatomy, how you do composites, provisions. Well, that's a different thing. But yeah, the amount of time that I took for making, let's say, just a small design case, let's say from 6 to 11, doing the anatomy with the wax and contours and so great. But it took me, in a normal situation, I wax up like that 3 or 4 hours. Or then obviously what everybody does is just, send it to a lab and then you pay, $40 you get a nice diagnostic wax up.
Sure.
$40, and then you get a very nice diagnostic wax up from the lab for a couple of $100. So now that was obviously the way we have been doing it for forever, but now not anymore. So a few years ago, then obviously all the lab softwares came out into the market, like 3Shape, exocad, which I still use those softwares every day. So there's obviously indication for them, but the same is instead of doing the wax up by hand, now I have to spend maybe another 30-45 minutes in the computer, clicking all the buttons, making the anatomy, adjusting contours and all that, which is still fine. Obviously, that's a big improvement from all the time that I was spending in the lab. But now the newest way is that, now we have AI softwares that basically you upload everything into the cloud. You upload your photos of the patient, your smile photo, you upload your STL files, your intraoral scans for the patient. And then the free feature that is, still free, hopefully it stays free, that I think most of the softwares they have it, is that now you can utilize libraries from natural teeth.
Yes.
So they scan a bunch of libraries from many, many different natural teeth. And then depending on the features of the patient, so if it's a younger female or older male, depending on what type of form and shape we want for the teeth, then you start selecting from all those natural shapes. But basically in a I can show you how to do that, but it really takes 45 seconds, a minute. Once I upload the files, I select the shapes that I want, and then the software will make you, with the smile photo, it can make you, we all have this slide, so it will make you just so a very quick smile design utilizing the AI shapes. And at least for the patient, the same, coming back to the visual aspect and the explanation, I was the one that I spent 45 minutes, an hour explaining to the patient. I have to open your vertical, I have to change your proportions, I have to change these contours and all. Patients, obviously, they don't understand any of that, so it's just literally wasting time. But if I have in a big screen that slider with this is how you just came, and I can show you this within 5 minutes that you came to the office, this is how you can look like if you work to go to treatment. I think that has a much visual impact to the patient than just spending an hour explaining things. And also, it's a great treatment plan tool. So obviously we know that those treatments are fairly expensive. So if I were just to try to explain, if you're a good salesman, probably you can explain it. Maybe the patients are going to trust you and then you can go for it. But they see that visual impact. I think it has a much more impact so hopefully money is not going to be the deciding factor when they go through treatment. They feel more like an emotion. This is how I'm going to look like at the end of this. And that creates an emotion for them.
Well, in the past, we'll put it that way, back the way that we used to do this kind of stuff, then when we'd have someone sit in the chair and we'd be talking these cosmetic dynamics or these rebuilds or these vertical dimension improvements or things along those lines, then I would get every single time the question, what's it going to look like? Well, let's send it to a lab and let's see. Let's measure it off. Maybe it's going to look like this. Maybe we'll have that. Hopefully you get what you want when it's all said and done. It was all hypotheticals. It was all, let's hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like you said, 45 seconds to a minute later, when someone is just having the thought of maybe I do want to do something, and you can have something like that to pop up on a screen and they can take that slide back and forth and see what their before was, see what their after could be. It pretty well sells itself. I don't have to be a good salesman anymore. And not only do they get to get excited about what's potentially coming, but it does the job for me, which makes me that much more excited to jump right into the treatment and get moving. So I love it. That is the thing that I'm actually most excited about when it comes to AI right now, with the way that I use my own. And you are right. There's a number of different software programs out there. There's the Christian Coachman that has his digital smile design, and there's the Smile Cloud, Smile Virtual. There's so many of those that are out there that you could utilize and use. So
yeah.
Is that number 3 or is that number 4?
That's number 3.
Okay, let's hit number 4. Get to it.
Okay, so in a very similar area, that going back to milling that we talked in the last episode, milling, 3D printing.
Yes.
Again, I started in that technology probably 2015, 2014. The way that we had to do the models, the nesting for the prints, the slicing software and everything. I think I'm pretty good at computers, and even like that, I think I had to spend an hour because we had to create the supports for the print, like one by one.
Yeah.
So we have to click the object and go into the support, and so supports one by one. So the amount of time that I spent in the computer just try to create something for a 3D printer, which, I mean, yeah, that's how to start, but obviously I lost a lot of time doing that. So I think, yeah, similar to the smile design softwares, now the industry and the companies, they want to start streamline the same as softwares that they try to automate things for us. So the same as any industry. As much as I love to sit down in the computer doing a design for half an hour, that's not the best use of my time. So we know all that. So either I just do it by passion after work, or I have to take less time with my family, or if I do it at work, then yes, I'm not producing as the same as I should look.
When we were young and first coming into dentistry, we called it our passion.
Right.
Now we just call it stupidity. And so it's what we used to do. We're better than that. Come on, guys. We're better than that.
Yeah. Then the whole idea is to streamline processes. Then we can delegate to the team. We can delegate to assistants. That way, when we have to focus on doing the actual clinical work, and then maybe in the background, the team could be assisting us with all this. So that's when all the new AI services for many things that we have access now. So the most simple ones is now these different softwares like 3Shape has the model maker.
Yeah.
Method also has some type of model maker as well. That basically, the assistant can take upper and lower intro scans of the patient. And if you just want to get a couple of a set of 3D printed models, maybe to make a bleaching tray, or I don't know, just to even show the patient or whatever you want to use the models for. Again, in the past, I had to take into the lab software, load the STLs, create bases for the models, trim all the areas that I didn't want. So again, that was a half an hour type of work. But now we're very simple, literally just click the next button from the STL files, click the next button, and the software will create the models for you in terms of it will create a base. It will create, if you want an ID tag for the patient with their name, it will trim the tongue space. That way you're not printing a bunch of like excess model that you don't want. And even the new ones, they can print you just a very simple, like little pins that it will help you to just hand articulate the models. So just from the assistants can take that, click next button, the software will make the models for you. Then they partner the scanners, at least 3Shape, and I think Method as well. But like they partner like companies like SpringRay that also from that, once it makes you a model, the software will already connect to your printer. So literally they just have to hit the next button and these models will be sent to the printer to be ready to be printed. So all that then we can delegate to the team, because like obviously we don't need to be doing very simple stuff like that, and then streamline the processes a lot faster. So that is only with models that I think is one of the simple things that we can do. Also, the new AI services, Reshape again, I think is leading in that service a little bit better than other companies. But that's going to be definitely a war in the next few years. All the companies try to do their AI services. And so I think the two most popular ones are the ones that, again, you can upload the STL file from the patients. Let's say you just finish a crown prep. Let's say crown prep number 3, number 4. You upload the STL files into their AI automated software. And then you get a crown design that is not made by a human. It's just literally made by AI. And you get a file back to you within, I think the last one that I did, you get it back within a minute or 2 minutes. So you take a scan, you upload them, and you get a crown design ready to send to the mill, or you can send it to the printer, whatever you're trying to do. If you're going to mill, then we have materials now that either lithium disilicates that can mill within 10 or 15 minutes. Also, we have zirconias, like the new ones like Katana, that they can sinter within 10 or 15 minutes. So also now we have a really strong material like zirconia, and we can have it ready within 15, 20 minutes. Also, that was not available in the past. So the whole thing is, again, not to spend half an hour in the computer doing the crown design, just uploading to the cloud. I get a crown back from the AI. That you can request modifications if you want to, proximal or occlusal or anything shape. And then you get the file ready to be milled or printed.
The more and more that we go through this, and the older that we get in this industry, the more we understand the value of time. Whether it be time in the office or what we're actually doing in the office, or like you said before, Celin, the time that we get to spend at home. Spend to just be at peace with our own minds. We start to drop money as being the most important thing, and we start to look at time that we cannot replace so quickly. And it's one of the biggest things that this assists with, is to try and get ourselves back to putting the value where it needs to be. So that was number 4. We got to fit.
Number 4. All right, let's finish with number 5.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, as a prosthodontist, very deep, and even for everyone, for you or me to agree on a color selection for a patient. I think we can get 10 dentists in a room, and we can get a patient right in the middle, and please tell me what color number 8 is. We can go with our shade guides. We can go with our photography, everything.
And you've heard women can see it better than guys can.
Right.
So the girls come in, the guys can't. You're even at 8 shades of being variants to it. Now everybody's got a different color in their mind.
Right. So we can come with all our tools, and from those 10 dentists in the room, probably maybe 1 or 2 are going to agree what shade is that patient.
It's a good point.
So in the last few years, obviously we had many different devices, optometers, that they can actually measure the color, which most of them were used only to make studies in the lab to measure color differences and all that. Very expensive. I think they still are. They were like, I don't know, $6,000 or $7,000 for an spectrophotometer. So I think for a normal practice, really not the best investment. In the recent years, Vita, that also, it's a leading company in terms of ceramics and color and ceramic, and they came out with the Easy Shade, that I think that was a great improvement. Very simple, that just with a single button, the spectrophotometer will tell you if it's A1 or A2. But the issue, it was that, okay, it just tells you it's A1 or A2. So then what do you do with that?
Now what?
Right. So then it didn't tell you if the patient had incisal halos. It didn't tell you if the patient had maybe some discolorations or micro cracks or anything that we had to replicate. So then that's when I still did that a few years ago. So we take the Easy Shade, and then with photography, I can send that to my lab. And so this is what my Easy Shade told me. Then please look at the photography to see if you have any halos or any translucency you want to match. But now recently, I think the big advancement has been that with the new softwares that also they're AI based. The two in the market that I know for sure, one of them is called Matisse, and one of them is called eLAB. Those are the two softwares. eLAB, it was created by Sascha Heinz, a ceramist in Germany. Matisse by another technician, Murad. Very similar technologies. They use the same thing. But the whole point of the technology is that you don't use shade guides anymore.
Right.
So it's everything going to be based at a cross-polarized photography. So if you see in social media the bunch of photos, they have a gray card behind the teeth or like right next to the teeth. So it uses the same principles as what the Easy Shade had. So it's the eLAB color map that is the lightness, the A is the greens and reds, and the B is the blues and yellows. So it uses the same like color map technology. But now the only thing that you have to basically do is put the gray card. The purpose of the gray card is to calibrate the lightness of your photo. And the only thing they have to do is put the gray card against the teeth. Let's say you're doing a number 8, and then take a photo with a cross-polarizing filter. So just with a normal ring flash camera, you put those cross-polarizing filters. Now there's many in the market. So basically what the filter does is that it removes all the glare for the enamel. So we know that enamel is a very highly reflected surface. So if we have very nice flashes that we like, but the enamel reflects a lot of light, with the color match, that could interfere because you almost get too much reflection out of the enamel. So that filter gets remove all that reflection. So that's the purpose of the filter. But then the only thing that you have to do is that also it's a cloud-based software. So basically you go into the website and then you upload that photo. It will calibrate that with the gray card. It will calibrate the photo. And the cool thing about this is that it will actually measure the color the same as a Vita Easy Shade. So it will tell you the cervical is an A1, middle is an A2. But the great thing about this now is that from that, also it will tell you if you want to do either a cutback with porcelain or if you just want to do normal stain. Basically, it will tell you after that a recipe, what powder. Also, you select what type of ceramic are you using. Let's say my technician is using Vita or Noritake. So he selects what type of porcelain he's using. And then after that, it will tell you what type of the porcelain recipe that he needs to use. So then basically it will tell you, please mix on cervical, 50% of A1 with 50% of A2, mix them and put it in the cervical. So the whole idea is that it basically gives you a recipe of how to match the color right from that photography.
It's not going to be as fun then as the usual getting things back from a lab and just praying that it's anywhere close and trying to talk a patient into it, saying, yeah, it looks really good. I promise you, it's natural. It looks just like the others. And you know, it really doesn't. I mean, we're nerds enough about this kind of stuff, but we're looking at it and saying it's good, but it's not perfect.
Right.
This kind of
so that's the whole point. Yeah, that from that calibrated photography, we can get very accurate measurements. And we know that matching a number 8 is probably the hardest thing that we have to do, but then in the past, I had to tell patients, if we're lucky, we match it by the 3rd time, 4th time. And then if we're lucky, but then I have cases that literally we have been able to match it right from the first time because we're able to calibrate those colors extremely well. So that is also going to change lots of the technology. And also I've heard that the partnerships that they're trying to do in the coming years is that, so basically either with 3D printers or mills, I think, now in Europe and I think in China, they came out with a couple of 3D printers that they're not yet to the dental market yet, but now they're going to come with almost like a normal paper printer. They're going to come with different buckets of like different colors. So it's going to have an A1, A2, A3. And while we do the print, then they can incorporate those different colors within the same print. So that is also going to change the way that we do things completely.
Technology in the past, we were investing a ton of money into these different dynamics. Let's say that you bought a scanner and a mill and things like that. You're doing your own crowns in office and spent thousands upon thousands of dollars. That's already obsolete. There's better ways to do it now. It's infuriating to see the advancements. It's fantastic, but I knew that we were going to be talking AI. So I just thought I wanted to see how people actually felt about this. So I looked up just a quick survey of things, and I wanted to see your opinion on a couple of these stats. 250 dentists were surveyed, and 1,000 patients were surveyed. And see if any of these actually resonate with you. 35% of dentists out of those 250 said that they have implemented AI into their office currently. And this is a survey that was done last year. Only 35%. 81% of those had a positive attitude towards the AI that was there. 62%, this is one that I thought was interesting, said that it could take over some of their operational tasks. Only 62% thought that was the case. And 55% of them believed the AI was going to start creating the need or the ability to lay people off out of their offices within the next 5 years. 55% thought that.
Wow.
Now, here's the fun, too. This is down to the patients. 72% of patients said that they had a concern with the AI because it was taking away the human interaction dynamics, or basically taking it to being all digitized as opposed to being humanized. And the last one, and this is the one I really wanted to get your curiosity on, only 10% of patients said that they were willing to pay a little bit more because AI was being utilized in the office. Only 10%. So I wanted to get you, as we wrap this up, I wanted to get your opinion regarding the ROIs regarding this, because some of these can be extremely expensive. Others, maybe not so much. Like you said, some of them are still free softwares, and hopefully, like you said, they keep them that way. But regarding the ROI, what is it that would be in your mind the need, or the reasoning, I should say, to say this is well worth the investment?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And it really is just, it depends on each basis from the different practitioners. So me as a prosthodontist, my needs might be a little bit different from just a normal GP in our rural area here in Kentucky. Maybe in the rural area, you just want to maybe just the AI software to help them do the insurance claims and diagnose the X-rays and all. That might be a good implementation. So it definitely depends on each practitioner, each practice. Ideally, it's the same as when we do any type of purchase. If you're trying, what type of problem are you trying to solve, or what type of improvement are you trying to make in your practice? So maybe if you're in the rural areas and the time that you have to send scans to your lab and get them back from the lab, maybe, I don't know, takes 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe you implement one of those AI design softwares, and now you can get those designs within the same day. And then you can tell the patient, yeah, come back maybe end of the week and we can get this done. It really depends on each practice and what you're trying to look for. Most of the softwares, they're not incredibly expensive right now. So like the Shea Select, the Shea matching software, I think the yearly fee is maybe like $600 or so. The AI design software is from 3Shape. I think for per crown, I think they're charging now, if I'm not mistaken, $10. But again, maybe that saves you maybe the lab bill that you used to have before.
Or the potential of having a remake later on.
Right. So there, many different things to evaluate, but definitely, for me, is it you're trying to solve a problem that you have in your practice? Is it trying to improve a workflow within your practice? Or maybe it's just to have the technology just to, I don't know, offer more services to the patients. So lots of different things that we'll have to evaluate.
Well, anytime that I make a decision, especially anything like this, I always have to ask myself, why do I need something? What is it that's happening in my office that I am realizing there is an issue or that there is something that can be improved? Once I figure out the why of what it is, then I start to figure out the how and the what's do I actually need to be able to make that why be something that's no longer a concern. So there's different avenues to it, but it's going to be different for every single office that's out there. Well, Celin, thank you very much. I mean,
thank you so
and I
much.
are both absolute nerds when it comes to this. I guarantee we could have spent another hour and a half easily. That was only 5.
Yeah,
we could have got another 10 without even
for
hesitation. Sure. But anyway.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. So those that are still looking for different products, different evaluations, things that Dental Advisor might be able to help guide you on, go to our site, dentaladvisor.com. And from those of us from Dental Advisor and myself and Dr. Arce, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time.